How did you attract/address your audience? Within our 2-minute opening sequence for Take a Look, we aimed to appeal towards the demographic, an older demographic, specifically towards white males between the ages of 45 to 70. In order for us to do this successfully, we needed to make sure that the key features that we set out to meet were actually met. The emphasis that we put on the dark nature of our piece is evident through a few different forms. We used a horn-heavy jazz piece and played it over the scene. This was done in order to attract individuals that were already fans of the film noir genre, as jazz is a typical convention of film noir products. It's constantly used. We focus the scene on our protagonist, Alex Dawson. We find out that his name is Alex Dawson after the opening scene. Now, as well as doing this to emphasize his importance as the protagonist of our piece, we are also focusing the scene on him in order to emphasize that he's not the typical type of character that you would see as a protagonist in a film noir piece. He's wearing modern clothes. He's a young male. In a typical noir piece, the protagonist would wear clothes of the time. So, trench coat, tie, just dress smartly. Our character is wearing modern clothes, modern casual clothes. And also in typical film noir pieces, the protagonist would be a middle-aged man. So through challenging these conventions, we're attracting an audience outside of our intended target audience. We're attracting a younger demographic. This is because they would be watching this and they would feel that they were being represented in a genre they wouldn't normally be represented in, thus creating a sense of jouissance. We created an enigma code through our piece by not revealing any context to the viewer. This pulls the audience in further and makes them intrigued as to what's going on in our scene and wanting to watch on in order to find out the meaning behind the scene, why the scene's happening. When watching the first few minutes of any film, you expect your attention to be grabbed and held onto. I believe that through our piece, we've done this. For example, through the part of the scene where the antagonist's henchman strikes the protagonist over the back of the head with a blunt object, we're displaying the unflinching, gritty nature of our product. We're not showing over-the-top gory violence, but we're showing it in a sense that it's necessary to put across how our piece, how we want our piece, what direction we want to take our piece in. Through adding this, we're attracting fans of films that contain within them an aspect of violence. Overall, our piece attracts our intended audience by following and adding to the typical genre conventions of a noir piece.